Welcome back, learners. I hope you had a nice quick rest. Now let's continue with determining probability. Probability is determined by considering the possible outcomes and the favorable outcomes and then making a prediction. So we've got theoretical probability, which is a mathematical calculation that is used to determine probability. How do we make this mathematical calculation? We say theoretical probability or probability is equals to the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of all possible outcomes. So if ever we are watching a soccer match, we know that the possible outcomes are actually three. It is either a win, a lose, or a draw. So it means the possible outcomes are actually three, but each team will only get either of the possible outcomes. So it means the probability of a team winning, maybe it will be one, because there's only one win. Whenever a match is only once, there's only one win, so it's going to be 1/3. So it means the probability is equals to 1/3 when you're watching a soccer match. Then the relative frequency now, this is the number of time an event has occurred relative to the number of trials of that particular event. Trials meaning that the number of times you've actually played, or the number of time that if ever it's a soccer match, we are looking at if ever that particular team will have 3 games, we will check the possible outcomes of all the 3 games divided all the favorable outcomes of the 3 games, if ever they won the first game, or they won the second game, or they won the first 2 games, or they won all the 3 games, divided by the number of events, which is the number of times they've actually played. Then to determine probability, you need to know the total number of possible outcomes. So you need to know that whenever I'm tossing a coin, how many possible outcomes should I expect? I must expect either a head or a tail. So it means we've got 2 possible outcomes. Then the number of favorable outcomes. So what is my favorable outcomes? What can I land on? Can I land on a head on the first toss? Yes, then it means that is your favorable outcomes. Then when a coin is tossed, there are 2 possible outcomes, which is a head and a tail. Therefore, what is the probability that a coin will land on a head? Now we say probability is equals to the favorable divided by the possible. So this one now represents the number of heads that we have in the coin. We only have 1 head in a coin. And then the 2 now represents the total number of heads and tail that we have in a coin. So it means it's the total number of all the possible outcomes that we have on a coin. So question 1 says, Loveness tossed a coin, determine the probability of landing on a tail. So probability, now we are going to say probability is equals to, she tossed a coin. So how many possible outcomes do we have in a coin? We've got 2, because it's either a head or a tail. So it's going to be 2. Then how many tails do we have in a coin? We only have 1. So it means the probability is 1/2. And remember, the question did not indicate specifically how do we express this probability. So it means we just write it either as a fraction or a percentage or a decimal number. Okay, question 2 says, determine the probability of picking a 2-rand coin if a bag has 4 2-rands. So we've got a bag with 4 2-rand coins and 16 1-rand coin. So plus 16. Now this is the number of coins that we have in the bag. So whenever we determine the probability, we'll say probability is equals to, how many coins do we have inside the bag? We've got 4 plus 16, which is 20. 4 plus 16 is 20. And then now what does the question say? It requires us to give the probability of picking a 2-rand coin. So how many 2-rand coins do we have in that bag? We've got 4 of them. So it's going to be 4/20. Now, then it means the probability is 4/20, but because probability is always written in its simplest form, then what must we do? We have to check what is the highest common factor between the 2 numbers. It's definitely 4. So 4 goes once in 4, and it goes 5 times into 20. So it means it's 1/5. Then Loveness rolled a dice. Determine the probability of the following. So when you roll a dice, what are the possible outcomes of a dice? We've got 6. You can either land on a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Then question A says, determine the probability of a prime number. What is a prime number? A prime number is a number that is only has 2 factors, which is 1 and itself. So how many prime numbers do we have there? We've got 1. 1 can be divisible by 1. 2 can be divisible by 1 and itself. and also 3 can be divisible by 1 in itself, and 5 can be divisible by 1 in itself. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 4 over. So 4, it is the number of prime numbers that we have in this event. And then how many possible outcomes do we have? We've got 6. So it's 4 over 6, which can be written as what is the highest common factor? It's 2. So 2 goes how many times into 4? 2 times. And it goes how many times into 6? It goes 3 times. Then an even number. So an even number, how many even numbers what is an even number? It is a number that can be divisible by 2, right, without leaving any remainder. So it's going to be 2, 4, and 6. So it means there is 3 even numbers out of 6 possible outcomes. So probability is equals to 3 over 6, which can be written as 1 over 2, because 3 goes once into 3 and it goes 2 times into 6. An odd number, what is an odd number? It is a number that is not divisible by 2. So any number that is not divisible by 2, we've got 1, we've got 3, and we've got 5. So it means probability is equals to, there's 3 of them. So it's going to be 3 over 6, which is the same as 1 over 2. Then what is the probability of landing on a 3? So probability is equals to, how many possible outcomes do we have? We've got 6 in total. And then how many 3s do we have in the die? We've got only 1 3, so it's 1 over 6. Then question 4 says, a prediction is a statement about a future event or an outcome based on past events or outcomes. So whenever we make predictions, we cannot just predict something that has never happened before. So we make predictions based on what has happened before. So the reason why we'll predict that a learner might pass or fail is because there's learners that have passed and there's learners that have failed previously. So we are given there A, determine the probability that it will rain on a Sunday, in words, that it will rain on a Sunday. Then we check, where is our Sunday? Here's our Sunday. We've got no percentage of some sort for rain. So how do we see rain? We see it with these droplets here. This determines rain, and they also give you the percentage of that rain, that it's 20%, it's 40. So what is the probability that it will rain on a Sunday? It's 0, so which is impossible. They say it in words. So it means it is impossible that it will rain on a Sunday. What is the probability of choosing a Monday in that 10-day forecast? What is the probability of choosing a Monday in this 10-day forecast? Then how many Mondays do we have here? We'll say probability is equal. We've got a Monday here and we've got a Monday there. So it's 2 out of how many days do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 days. So it's 2 over 10, which can be written as 2 is the highest common factor. 2 goes 2 times once into 2 and it goes 5 times into 10. Question 5, consider a box of marble that contains 3 red marbles. We've got 3 red, 4 orange marbles, plus 4. We've got 5 green marbles, plus 5. Then we've got 8 brown marbles. Then we've got 8. So now we have those marbles inside the bag. So what is the total number of marbles in that bag? So you calculate it, you say 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8. So we've got 20 marbles in total in that particular bag. Then it says determine the probability of choosing a red marble. How many red marbles do we have? We've got 3 of them. So it's going to be probability is equals to 3 over 20. So 3 over 20 cannot be simplified. So this is how we write that probability. Then determine the probability of choosing a blue marble. So a blue marble, how many blue marbles do we have? Blue, we don't have any blue marbles. So it's actually 0 over 20, which is equals to 0, because there is no blue marble in that particular bag. Then determine the probability of either a brown or an orange. Either a brown or orange. So now we have to add the totals, because we are checking whether are you going to pick a brown or are you going to pick an orange one. So we'll say probability is equals to how many total marbles? We've got 20. How many are brown? We've got 8 brown marbles, plus how many are orange? We've got 4. So it is actually 12 out of 20. So we are increasing our chances now. So 12 over 20, what is the highest common factor between the two? It's 4. So if it's 4, then it means going to be 3 over 5. Because 4 goes 3 times into 12 and it goes 5 times into 20. Thank you for tuning in today, learners. I hope you enjoyed the lesson on probability, predictions. I hope you understand better how do we express probability and how do we determine probability. I hope to see you again next time. Bye.